hope to pursue a master's in molecular medicine, most likely. I'm also a pretty creative person, so all forms of art really love when it comes to fashion, visual art, film, movies, interested in all of that. And I also am a pretty avid reader, so yeah, those are my interests. Ever since I was young, I was really interested in processes. Like, for example, I would see a bike or someone riding a bike, and I'd be interested in how those wheels are moving and how like that person's able to carry themselves from point A to point B. That interest in like processes and functions and transitioned into biology, wherein I started developing an interest in how certain functions work, so certain movements. It's pretty interesting because where I first discovered like, okay, I actually want to do like medicine, like I want to become a doctor, was in French class because we had to make this Bristol board presentation about things we wanted to do in the future. At that point, I was all over the place. At one point, I wanted to be a businessman. At one point, I wanted to be a firefighter. All my friends were telling me about high-paying jobs, and I was like, wait, I want to make money when I'm older. And then I just see a doctor, and I'm like, oh, I like helping people. I want to make money. Perfect fit. I mean, obviously, my incentive is a lot more developed now. Having that one assignment, it kind of led me to thinking, okay, maybe medicine is something I want to do. Honestly, I think the willingness to read is like the most important thing because it doesn't matter how passionate you are about biology, there's so much information, and especially if you're hoping to pursue like research, it doesn't necessarily matter what you know because there's always going to be new things coming about. So that willingness to read and to learn is incredibly important. Very close to that obviously would be having discipline, knowing that sometimes you're not going to necessarily feel like maybe studying this concept, but thinking long term, okay, how is this going to benefit me? So I feel like the willingness to read and just developing that discipline early on is very important for someone who wants to become a biologist or become a researcher or to become a doctor, anything like that. It's a good question. It changes. I'll say from September to February, wake up, go to classes. Then after my class, see if I can finish any readings or assignments. And then I would get on the shuttle bus because I'm at the UTM campus, so the campus in Mississauga. So afterwards, I would get on the shuttle bus and go to St. George because I also compete on the track and field team there. And then after practice, I would finish up any last minute work at the athletic center. And then I would get back on the shuttle bus, get back to campus, eat, maybe chill with some friends, finish up any last work I haven't finished before. So it was pretty much like that up until I would say March. And then March, after the season ended, I just had a lot of free time. So some days I wake up earlier, some days I wake up later. It's not necessarily about the grade, it's about whether or not you understand what you're doing. I would be very fixated on getting that high average and like scoring very well on all my tests without actually considering whether or not I'm actually taking in this information. Especially when it comes to grade 11, grade 12, like it was a lot of cramming. I would have served myself better to sit down and genuinely take in the information as opposed to just memorizing and then spewing it on a test, getting a good grade, but then come to university, the testing styles are different and they no longer care about what you cram. It's more so about your ability to apply. I had this complex transitioning into university that despite what everyone was like telling me about their struggles, about them not being able to do as well as they wanted to, I was going to be different somehow and everything was just going to be way easier for me. So then when I started like struggling, when those first midterms came in, I realized I'm no different from anyone else. Like I'm struggling the exact same way as the person who told me back in the summer, back in grade 12, that they were struggling. And that was like the biggest eye opener that changed perspective, that it doesn't matter how smart you are, at some point you are definitely going to struggle. At the end of the day, some people are just naturally better at things than others, and there's going to be one thing that you're evaluated on in university that you may just not be that good at. So I think that's the main thing that opened my eyes.